Hey guys, welcome back to my colourful country life. It is time today for my June completed pages, and I only coloured 7 pages this month, which I think is a record low for me. It is end of financial year here in Australia, so it has been a busy couple of weeks work-wise, as well as the fact that 2 of the pages I'm going to show you today were massive double page spreads that just took so long to complete. I think one of those spreads took me 2 weeks and another took me just under 2 weeks. So on that note, I'm going to move everything out of the way and we'll get straight into it. Okay, so first up, let's start with Joanna Basford's Rooms of Wonder. Now, this is the main culprit for why I didn't get much done this month. This page, this double page spread, took me, I think, 14 days to complete, and it is up on the channel as a colour along, as are all the pages that have been completed in this book. So for those who aren't aware, this is our full book colour along for the channel. I think we're around the halfway mark or close to it now, so I am hoping to get a few pages coloured from here in the month of July. Now, this background alone took about 16 hours, and that was colouring just a couple of hours a day. It also took me 1.5 black Prismacolors to complete, and I have to admit, by the end of this, I was so absolutely over it. I should have just done one side now and the other half at a later date, a bit like what I did with the Lost Property Office. If I wasn't filming it, I probably would have taken a break and coloured something else and then come back to it. It was just too repetitive to do all at once. I will definitely be thinking twice about the mediums I use on the next wallpaper page. Actually, I just tried out my King Art gel sticks for the first time this month, which we'll see in an upcoming page, and I am a tad bit obsessed. So the next wallpaper page may have those as the background. So for this background, I used my Derwent Intense pencils. I wasn't originally going to, I ummed and ahed over it, but I did think that they would be the best option just to get into the small areas and get a smoothish result, as opposed to if I use watercolors or my Nero Color 2s. I could have used distress inks maybe, or soft pastels instead. That could have been a better option. But and if I was going to tackle this page again, I probably would use distress inks, or maybe even the King Art gel sticks for the background instead, now that I've tried them out. I do love how it turned out though. I do love how the Inktense looks, and in a way I am glad that I did do it that way, but never again on such a big background area with all these fiddly details. When I finished this page, I was like, that's it. I don't want to ever see my Inktense pencils again, not for a long time at least. And then I did another page with an Inktense background later on that month. So the detailed elements were coloured with Prismacolor pencils. I was aiming for a sort of velvety kind of look. Also, the colour palette was suggested by Pixie Dust Doodles and was my take on the Haunted Mansion ride from Disney, which was her suggestion. Honestly, if you colour this at Halloween and add in a few spiders dropping down, I think it's going to look fantastically creepy, in my opinion. So I also used some Sparkle Pop in silver for the sparkly details, and I did spray the background with some Imagine Crafts shimmer spray just to add a bit more sparkle and shine. Now, speaking of the shimmer sprays, I know the Kaiser Craft shimmer spray is hard to get outside of Australia, and the Imagine Crafts dupe is hard to get hold of for some as well. So last week, Tim Holtz and Ranger released the Distress Spritz range, and these are glittery sprays in the same shades of the Distress inks. I'm not sure if all shades have been released yet or just a few of them. They're not being released in Australia until the first week of July, but when they are, I will try one out and do a comparison between the 3 to see if it is a good dupe or not, as I think they might be a bit more accessible to a lot of people than the other brands. I'm just a bit concerned that the colours won't match so well, but we'll have to have a look and see. So I will try that out in a future video. So this was the only thing I coloured in Rooms of Wonder by Joanna Basford this month. Next is Lulu Mayo's A Million Sea Creatures. Now, after colouring that massive double page spread in Rooms of Wonder, I needed something quick and colourful, and Lulu's books never disappoint. So I coloured this fish page here. I always get so much enjoyment from colouring Lulu's images and just throwing all sorts of mediums at her pages. I did pop some paper between these pages to protect from colour transfer. Now, I don't do this often, as I do seal my pages with a fixative when they're complete, but my CSY paint just kept rubbing off. I used a brand new set of paints on this page. It was a blue, was it just a blue set or was it blue and purples? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a brand new set and it gave me nothing but grief. The silvery blue color was very grainy and it was just sucking up so much water. It was hard to get a smooth paint and then it was rubbing straight off. And I've never had that happen with my CSY paints before, so maybe I just got a bad batch. The blue was also from the same set and the blue didn't really give me any issues. So I'm thinking it was just an issue with that color. Hopefully just with my set only and not with all sets. So other than that, I use Prismacolor pencils for the pencil work. Prismas always blend so beautifully on this paper. There's also tons of sparkle pop, if you can see that. Hang on, I don't have my light on. Maybe that's better. Tons of sparkle pop pens in the pink, the orange, and a little bit of gold on the stars as well. There's glossy accents on the fish's eyeball and lots of white signa as well. I was gonna go over the black lines around the water splashes here, around the sea foam with the white signo or my Tulia, but when I think I tried it over here first just to test it out, but it was rubbing the paint straight off, so I couldn't do it. Maybe I should have done that first, or maybe if I used a different silvery color it would have worked well. But and for the background I use my Artex acrylic paint markers. Now this color was from the 60A set and I love how smoothly that has gone down. I do have a review on the channel for these acrylic paint pens along with the smaller sets as well, and of course this page was also a color along up on the channel too if you want to check that out. So that was Lulu Mayo's A Million Sea Creatures. Let's get that paper back in there. There we go. Okay, next up we have Nightingales 3 by V-San Ong. And now I didn't mark any of my pages this month, did I? I coloured the Sanctuary of Rose page. There it is here. So for this page, I based everything with Artex alcohol markers, and that was using the pastel set. So I then went over the top with Prismacolor pencils to add in some details. Looking back at it now, I probably should have made some of the flowers lighter in tone and others darker, just to add some contrast, and maybe covered the black lines a little bit too. I've also used some Folk Art Extreme glitter on the sky and a little bit of white signo on her eyes as well. I did find the grayscale on her face was quite dark, so it was difficult to cover whilst doing a lighter skin tone, but overall I think it looks cute. It was another quick page to colour while I was waiting for my other videos to upload. The weather has been wild here lately, so my internet has been a bit sketchy. Well, a lot sketchy actually. But yeah, so some of the grayscale is quite, see, that's quite dark as well. Some of it is quite light. But in other pictures it's actually quite dark, so it's hard to get away with a light skin tone when the grayscale is that dark. But that was Sanctuary of Rose from Nightingales 3. Next up is Romantic Country, the second tale by Erie. Now, last month in my channel updates video, I did put a question out there about what pages or books you guys might like colour alongs from, and I did go through each and every comment and I wrote them all down in a list, and I did keep a tally of everyone's requests, and this page, this book and this page were one of the most requested. Now this page here took me almost as long as the Rooms of Wonder double page. I think it was 12 days in total to complete this, but the difference being I enjoyed every single second spent colouring this double page spread. This page was so much fun to colour, and it's only my second page ever completed in this book, or double page spread. My first page, actually the first page I coloured in this book was my first ever Erie page a long time ago, with my first ever attempt at doing Inktense. So yeah, that's a very old picture there, but this is actually my favourite out of the Romantic Country books. But I think next time I might colour in book 3 or maybe book 1. I know book 1 is a bit hard for people to get a hold of at the moment. I think it's out of print, but I just want to share the love around with my other books and fill them up a little bit more as well. I have been thinking of colouring Christmas in July next month, or this month now, so I'm running a little bit late with this video. I have I've already coloured a Christmas page from both book 1 and book 3. from Romantic Country, if I remember off the top of my head correctly. One was the big letterbox page, and the other one was the snowman and the two little kids with the presents. So it is a possibility. I think there is more Christmas pages in those books. I'll have to have a look later when I'm looking at what I'd like to colour for July, but I am thinking of colouring maybe some Christmas in July. So this page is up on the channel as a 4-part colour along if anyone wants to follow along with me. Now, for this page, I did base most elements with my Albrecht Durers and then went over the top with my Polychromos pencils. I think this has to be my favourite page this month. The sky, I completely winged it, making it up as I went along. Originally, I was thinking of a stormy night sky, but with the wash-in hanging on the line here, I kept leaning towards more of a daytime feel for this page. So I thought maybe a blue sky with a bit of pink and maybe some clouds drawn in, all with pencils. But then I couldn't picture in my mind the colour palette that I'd like for the elements, which would go well with that sky. I just wasn't feeling it. And then I considered completing everything else and coming back to the background or the sky at the end just to make it sure that it suited the rest of the page. But my focus really was on that sky. And I actually had a pic come up in my Facebook memories of a sunset photo that I had taken here on the farm, and the sky with these amazing colours with these purples and these oranges. So I thought it might be a good idea to make the sky a sunset and try to incorporate these colours somehow. So I just picked out a couple of shades of each colour, so some purples, I think blues, oranges, yellows, maybe even a bit of pink I think was in there. Maybe that was a light magenta. So I just dove right in and I tried to make it a little bit brighter on this side as I was picturing the sun setting from that direction. And then I took the pencil colours that I used to create the sky and added them into the combos for the other elements, just to bring a bit of cohesiveness to the page. So I also used a whole bunch of Tooly Art paint pens to cover some of the black lines on the elements. There's jelly rolls in glaze and metallics as well. We've got a little bit of silver sparkle pop too on some of the items. I've also added in some glossy accents, mostly on items that are glass, like the window and the picture frames. If you can see that shining in the camera, and also some white Signo as well, just to add in some accents. And I also used it to fill up the little floral branches that are hanging down as well. So that is my double page spread from Romantic Country, the second tale, and I had an absolute blast colouring this double page this month. Next up, I have Moon Valley by Maria Trolle, and this was also a requested video. So this page, let me find it. That's what I get for not marking anything this month. There we are. So this page is also a colour along up on the channel. It should be up by the time you're seeing this, I think. So this page is the other one with the Inktense background this month. Being that the background is a lot smaller than the last one and not as fiddly, it was actually rather enjoyable to colour. So I am very much glad that I did Inktense background on this page, despite the burnout from Rooms of Wonder. Now I also based some of the elements with Inktense too before going over the top with Prisma pencils, just to give it more of a nighttime feel. I have used black jelly roll glaze on the border here. There's Wink of Stella on the bee's wings. Jelly roll metallic in gold on the center of the flowers, and Tooly Art paint pens to cover up the black lines too. So there's no real shimmer on this page. I quite liked it the way it was. I thought I'd better stop instead of adding in some shimmer sprays or glitters. And I used white Signo too. So the white Tooly Art paint pens I covered the black lines with, but the little dots on the background is with white Signo. So that is my page from Maria Trolle this month, and I'm really enjoying colouring her pages at the moment. I had a great time colouring this page, and I think this is another favourite of mine this month. I may colour some more pages from her in July as well, because I'm really enjoying her books at the moment. Next up, I have this PDF that Lulu sent across to me from her new book, A Million Puppies. Now, this page was so cute. Like I said earlier, her pages are just so much fun to colour. I find them really relaxing. For this page, I based a lot of the elements with Derwent Inktense pencils. They're getting a lot of use this month. And I coloured over the top with Prismacolor pencils to add in some shading. I have used a multitude of different colour sparkle pop pens to bring some sparkle to the page, as well as some CSY paints again. Now, this was also a new paint palette, the pink tone palette, but the colours work beautifully as they usually do for me. And you can see how smoothly that went on here in the pinky tone on some of the elements, as well as this sort of rosy gold tone down here on the tray as well. Now for the background, I used the Artex Oil Pastels, and I do have a video on the channel for this medium where I colour this background. It is a new medium to me, and I love trying out new things. Despite not having a clue what I was doing, I think the end result worked out well. I definitely want to play around with these some more and see what can be achieved with them for our colouring pages. But for the first time using this medium, I'm pretty happy with the result. Things don't usually go so well for me when I use something for the very first time. And a lot of products I've used for the first time have gone away in a drawer and hidden there for months until I've dared try them again. So I'm quite happy with the way it worked out in the end. And it turned out quite like how I wanted to. Now, it probably hasn't blended as well as I would have liked. But I think that's going to just take a little bit more practice. And of course we have some shimmer there from the Imagine Crafts shimmer spray to in the background. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but there's so much shine and glitter on this page. I think that's what makes Lulu's pages so much fun. Nothing's realistic. You can just color anything. Well, I mean, nothing has to be realistic in any of your pages, but with Lulu I feel like I can just color anything, any color I want, and throw in as much glitter and shine and sparkle as I want as well. So that is a Million Puppies. So last but not least, this month I've colored another page from Rose and Her Friends by Eveline Van Kotsum. Now this was another page where I decided to trial a brand new medium. Here it is here. And this little mermaid was the page I decided to colour. Now, when I first got this book, I didn't have any alcohol markers. So my other pages in this book were all pencil. So that was all done with Prismacolor pencils and soft pastel for the background. But this one, I wanted to try out the alcohol markers. Now, as far as alcohol markers go, I have a small set of Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends, a small set of Ohuhu markers, and also the Artex acrylic markers in the pastel set. So I haven't been using alcohol markers for long, so I don't have a big collection, but between the 3 different sets, I have mixed and matched and come up with all the colours I needed for this page. Now, normally when I use alcohol markers, it's just for basing, and then I go over it with pencils to add in shading. But this time I decided to do the hair purely with alcohol markers, just to practice blending in different colours. And I absolutely love how it turned out. Now, I did get some of the background medium on the ends of her hair, so it looks a little bit blue down here. And I wasn't able to remove it either, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to have a look into that further. But if you just look at like that bit, I think it looks great. No pencils on the hair whatsoever. That was purely blending for the very first time with alcohol markers. So I have done a lot of new things, new to me at least, this month. Now I did use pencils over the top of the alcohol markers on the skin, the fish and the shells, just to add in some shadows. Now I used the Deco Art White Pearl metallic paint on top of the shell, and that just added a bit of a subtle shine to it. I just used a really thin layer on top of the purples, and I used liquid pearls for the pearls. Now for the background, I used the King Art gel sticks for the very first time, and I think I have found myself a new obsession. Now, hear me out for a sec. If you like the look of distress ink backgrounds, but you struggle to get a smooth finish, you need to try these. Now, I know what you're thinking. They're completely different mediums, Karen. Yes, they most certainly are. However, as I was applying them onto the page, I was using my makeup brush, and the effect and the final look was mimicking the effect of the distress inks, in my personal opinion. So if you do struggle with distress inks and you want another option, this is it. I think I might even prefer these over using soft pastels too. I'll have to try to do a background first though and see if it erases from the elements, which is what I tend to do with the pastels. I'll colour the whole background and I don't worry about going over the elements, and I just erase that in the end. So I want to see if I can do that with this as well, just because I like things that are quick and easy and I don't want to have to mask anything if I can help it. So I'll have to see if that works. Just because, like I said, I couldn't remove the colour from the hair, so I'll see if I can do it first and if that works better. Also, I used 3 different colours in the background here. I'm thinking maybe a 4th might have been needed to deepen the colours around her face a little bit, as I've managed to pick colours that match her skin a little bit too well that she blends in to the background. So I could go back in and do that, but I won't. I've already added the Imagine Craft Shimmer Spray to the background as well, which you should be able to see maybe. It's very fine glitter, so it is hard to pick up on camera. Hopefully you can see that. And other than that, there is a small amount of white Signo just as highlights on her eyes. But that's it. So that is all I have to show you this month. I did mention earlier I was thinking about colouring some pages for Christmas in July, so let me know if you are interested in that. I do have some books solely focused on Christmas, such as Teresa Goodridge book. I can't remember what it's called. I'm trying to look on my bookshelf right now. I think it's Christmas Charm, perhaps. I can't remember. There's Joanna's Christmas, Masha's Christmas, there's an RJ Hampton Christmas book. I've even got a Hannah Lynn Christmas book. Otherwise, there are other artists who have Christmas pages in their normal books, like in the romantic country books. Clara Markova, I think, has Christmas pages, and I think Hannah does as well. Now, Hannah has her new Christmas book coming out, but that'll miss Christmas in July. I think off the top of my head it comes out in August or perhaps September. Anyway, let me know what you think about colouring some Christmas pages. I don't tend to get many Christmas pages coloured at Christmas, so I was thinking maybe I can colour some in July, but let me know if that's something you're interested in seeing. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Happy colouring, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.